Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the BG Show. I'm joined again by Thomas DePeche, who, if you haven't seen my first ever video, join me for my first ever video. We did a Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness review. He's in town visiting from LA. He actually works in the industry. He is an editor, works on various TV shows, so he definitely knows what he's talking about. So we're going to get into a ton of stuff today. We're going to start with the Roadhouse movie, which you watched on the plane. So let's start with that. I did a Roadhouse review, the new Roadhouse. So go back and watch my opinions. You don't really have to go. I don't really have to get too much into it. But I guess I'll start with my opinion first.
Yeah.
Overall, I watched the original first. I thought it was pretty good. Not like amazing. I enjoyed. Okay, here's what I think. I think what I'm curious of is what we don't know what the crowd would have reacted to Connor like.
Yeah.
I want to know, like, would the theater be laughing? Would the theater be like, what the fuck is this? Would the theater be booing? So I feel like we really lost out on. Honestly, like, I'm really interested. Like, it's not every day you get like he's like a fighter, but a celebrity. Kind of get a movie like this. So that's my opinion. I thought it was solid. Obviously, very mediocre, but entertaining. I'd say. So yeah.
Yeah. I think that's pretty valid. I think he was one of the more exciting parts of the movie when he came on. Obviously, he brought a lot to the screen. He played a character that represented a lot, and he played it really excessively. But I think that he hit every note that they were going for. And as far as performance, like it is what it is. He's not an actor. The lead actress isn't an actor. Like she's just,
So the
But
yeah, I would say the lead actress, she was actually
She's great.
Ratcatcher in
Yeah.
Suicide Squad,
don't get me wrong, she's great.
and
But they're like, yeah,
I thought Gyllenhaal was very monotone. I thought like I'd expect like his character to come out of his shell at some point in the movie. I thought he was like very weird and monotone, kind of a weird. But what really bothered me
Yeah.
about the movie the most, as a big UFC fan, and I know you're more of a casual fan, but you still like it, is I remember they filmed the Jake Gyllenhaal scenes at the UFC at a real event. And I don't know why that wasn't just the beginning of the movie. To turn the UFC stuff into flashbacks, I thought was so stupid. Like, leverage the film that you have. Like, it's
Yeah.
valuable film. Like, I don't think Dana would have just let anyone film in the UFC like that. And I don't feel like it's valuable.
Yeah.
They didn't leverage it.
and they shot for like a full event too, like a day. Like they
Mhm.
shot a lot of stuff. I was surprised that it took up like probably less than like 3
At the
minutes of
weigh-ins
the actual
too.
movie.
Also at the weigh-ins.
Yeah, yeah. So I was disappointed with the actual like relative like. I mean, the UFC presence was there, but with the actual lack of UFC footage, like it definitely could have made the movie a lot cooler. Because like you said, you kind of live in Jake Gyllenhaal's just like laissez-faire attitude. Like he doesn't give a fuck about anything, and he's just as big of an asshole as Conor McGregor is. He's just like slightly more reserved.
And this
then,
is why-
of course, they wind up fighting each other for 5 minutes at the end.
And I guess I'll like continue this into a conversation more about like streaming in general, because I have a lot of opinions. I know you work in the industry, and I just feel like streaming movies don't have the same appeal. You look at all the movies that have come out on streaming in the last few years, right? You think of like The Irishman, the J-Lo movie Atlas just came out on Netflix yesterday. Like this movie, I feel like when a movie comes out on streaming, you know, kind of three things happen that it's known for, or four things. If it's really, really, really good, like which is rare, people will be like, okay, gotta watch it. This movie's amazing, which doesn't really happen. Two, it'll be mediocre and forgotten about, which is most of them.
Yeah.
Three, the studio will brag about how many people watched it, which is this one. This is the
Yeah.
most watched Amazon event. And then four, honestly, I forgot what the fourth one was going to be. I got to think shit.
Yeah,
but those are kind of like the three things that happen. And I just feel like,
I think those are valid. I think it's also we're in an age with movies where everybody's trying to appeal to like the broadest audience that they can, and draw that in through every reason they can. And, not that wasn't always the case, but I think everything is so hyper focused on that now, just bringing the most amount of eyeballs to the screen.
and what I don't,
And like by hell or high water, like it's not gonna like you sacrifice a lot of plot to run those like I don't know 8-minute fight sequences between Gyllenhaal and McGregor and like all this other stuff, and whatever. The movie's always gonna be what it was gonna be, but yeah, I feel like that's kind of like the streamers push that kind of stuff.
yeah. And I mean,
Almost in a way that theatrical sometimes like you don't even see it anymore.
I mean, I don't, and I feel like they're honestly releasing. The wrong movies are being released in theaters, like John Krasinski, that movie that just came out this week. I forgot what it's called. It's like it's him in it. He directed. It's like an animated movie. So much like I feel like the animated movies are really well. I shouldn't say that because those are big box office draws, but so many of these movies that should be out in theaters are being on streaming, and so many that are on streaming should be in theaters.
Yeah. I think Roadhouse would have hit a lot harder in a theater. Actually, I think
I
it would have been a much better
I think
experience.
if you like if I think we've come full circle where Kevin Spacey did House of Cards, and then he kind of A-list movie stars were like, hey, I can do TV. You can do TV like a TV show. If I'm an A-list actor, I am not putting myself. I can't even put like Leo has put himself on streaming movies.
Yeah,
This is
crazy.
someone who didn't even
Crazy.
want to do a superhero movie.
And it's so
He didn't
different.
even want to do Star Wars. Leo was supposed to be Anakin Skywalker. Didn't want to do it because he thought it wasn't prestigious enough. Which, by the way, right call, obviously. Like,
Yeah,
look at the career he's had.
yeah.
But 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 if like you don't want to do a Star Wars movie, why would you want to be on like Don't Look Up on Netflix? I just feel like that's very. They're
It's just
not.
a
They're
money game.
not.
It's
They're
just like
not.
that's all it is. It's just it's all money. Like
And
it's crazy the amount of money
okay,
they
and
throw at these movies. And I think that Roadhouse was a perfect example of that. Like the budget was so unnecessary, and then they only really filmed it like I can't imagine they
sorry, I'm
filmed it
just
more
turning
than
this off.
5 different locations.
Uh huh.